Welcome to Engines of Mischief. Congratulations, you are a publican. You run a public house that serves food and drink to the residents of Manchester, especially the lower classes. It also provides them a place to socialize and to get to know what is going on in town. This video will explain how you make money and keep track of it each game session, and how that impacts your lifestyle and class status. To keep these accounts, you must fill out 2 worksheets each game session. The first worksheet, Make Money Worksheet, keeps track of how much money you make. The second one indicates what kind of lifestyle you can live on your income. Each profession and social class has a different worksheet, and each player completes new worksheets for every session of the game. Now let's go over how you should fill out your worksheet for the first session of the game, Session 1. First, make sure that you put your character's name in the space at the top and include the session that this worksheet is for. Then you have to determine how much money you have earned. You make money mostly by selling food and drink in your pub. From these sales, you get a guaranteed weekly salary of 50 shillings. You get this every session, no matter what. Let's assume in Session 1 that you didn't make money in any other way. So you just earn the money from your salary and you put it down at the bottom under totals. We'll also assume you didn't spend any money, so there's a 0 in that box. So you add that up and you get 50 shillings as your total income. You also have no savings. Now you have to determine how you can live based on how much money you made this session. In other words, you have to figure out what your lifestyle is like. You use the lifestyle and status worksheet for this. Again, don't forget to include your character's name and session at the top. You have an income of 50 shillings. You determine that on your Make Money worksheet. This makes you a member of the middle classes. But there are 3 levels in the middle classes, and you have to see which level you belong to. These levels are based on income earned that week. Clearly, you don't belong to the upper middle classes because they earn at least 1,500 shillings a week. You also don't belong to the middle classes because they make 450 shillings per week at minimum. You are in the lower middle classes. These are people who make between 50 and 449 shillings a week. Now let's fill out your worksheet. You only fill in the boxes for one class level, and for you, that's class level 4. So you first fill in the boxes for income, and this is what you figured on your Make Money worksheet. So you have a weekly income of 50, you have no savings, and that adds up to a total of 50 shillings. The next thing you have to do is spend money on necessities. You have to pay 50 shillings each session to be considered part of the lower middle classes. In other words, you have to eat a certain way, dress a certain way, and live in a place that makes you someone who's in the middle class rather than the working class. So your necessities include food, clothing, cleaning supplies, furniture, and rent for your shelter. The pictures on the right illustrate how you live, what your necessities are. You don't actually have to buy any of these things in the game. They just show what kind of lifestyle you lead. Ideally, you would like to buy some luxuries. This will show that you are living better than other people at your class level. And they give you status because it shows that you are better off than other people. If you have enough money, you can buy luxuries and you fill in this box here. But unfortunately for you in this session, you have no savings. So you can't even buy one status point of luxuries because that would require 130 shillings. So it's in your interest in the next session to think of ways to make more money. So let's see some ways you can make more money. Let's imagine that it's Session 3. If you look at your Make Money worksheet, there are many boxes to account for things you can make money on, in addition to your salary, which you always put in the top box because you always get that. Most of what you make money on is because you have a pub. You sell drink and food, you can give parties, you listen to your customers and have a great deal of information about them. You often help the weavers and spinsters save money or even lend them money. Much of this is on this in your roll sheet. Because you can do so many different things, it's probably best to use a separate business ledger like this one. You can fill it in while marketplace is going on to keep track of the things that you are doing or the deals that you're making, and then fill in your Make Money worksheet afterwards. So let's say this is your business ledger for session 3. For session 2, you included that you chose Bamford's article as best, and that gave you 25 shillings in pub sales. This is one of your jobs each session. You choose the best article in one of the 2 newspapers and you read it aloud in your pub. This brings in more customers who like to hear it, and it increases your pub sales. So in session 3, if you did the same thing, you would say, who pays me? That's pub sales. How much you made was 25 shillings. For example, you say whose article you chose as best, and maybe session 3, it's Lord Derby's. And then you say it's a one-time payment because you just get it in that session. Other things you could do in session 3, you could cater a party at the pub given by Merchant Thornton. You could sell information you overheard in the pub to Merchant Oldnow. You could accept a bribe from somebody like Craftsman Roberts to choose his article as the best. You also could give a small loan to a spinster. This will cost you money this session, but in the next session, session 4, when payments begin, you will start making interest of 2.5 shillings per session. So that is something you will make, money you will make in future sessions. Another thing you can do is open a box club. It's like a savings bank. So the weavers and spinsters are too poor to have bank accounts, but they might want to save some money. So they will give you, the publican, a little bit of money which you keep safe for them in a box in your pub. If they need it later, you give it back to them. They might need it if they fall in hard times or if they decide to go on strike. If you get the majority of weavers and spinsters to contribute to your box club, you get 25 sessions in extra pub sales each session. It makes them come to your pub more often, which is why you get more pub sales. You would have to write down on your worksheet which weavers and spinsters have contributed and how much they have in the box. So you have to add it up each session. So after you've written down your accounts, you can fill in your worksheet to see how much money you've made this session. So we're only going to do session 3. So if you have any pub sales by choosing articles, you would add them up. 25 and 25 is 50 shillings in that box. If you give a party at the pub, you put it in that box. If you get paid for information, you put it in that box. If you get a gift or a bribe, you put it in that box. If you are giving a microloan, you put it under the money spent column. There are a few other things you can do to make money. For example, you might become a regular spy for Lord Melbourne, who will pay you a salary of 35 shillings each week, and you would put it in the other income box. So you total up the money you've earned, 310 shillings, you subtract the money you spent, and you would end up this session, if you did all of these things, with 300 shillings in savings, in income. So let's see how this changes your lifestyle. You have 300 shillings, no savings. Your total income is 300, which leaves you 250 shillings after you pay for necessities. So now you really can pay for luxuries. Again, you get 1 status point for every 130 shillings of luxuries. If you decide to buy luxuries, you put it in that box, the pink box with a minus sign. And then you subtract that from your income and the necessities, and you still have 120 shillings left over. Not quite enough to get another status point, but a considerable amount of savings. You would put 1 in the yellow box to the left, and down at the bottom, because that is a status point for lifestyle. The bottom row here is adding up your status points. You could earn other status points, for example, in town hall that session by giving a really excellent speech. If you have any from a previous session, you would put it in the next box, and then you add it up. So what this indicates is that if you did everything in session 3 on the worksheet that we just looked at, you would end up with 2 status points and a savings of 120 shillings. In session 4, you would put that 120 shillings savings at the top here. But you do have another choice. You could decide not to buy any luxuries and not to get status points, but just to keep saving your money, in which case you would have 250 shillings in savings to do something with, like perhaps invest in another business or give somebody else a loan. So keep thinking about ways to make money. If you do well, you could move up a class level into the middle classes, in which case you would get 5 status points. So if you have an income of 450 shillings per week, you could move up a class level and get 5 status points. If you do very, very well and have an income of 1,500 shillings a week, you could move up to the upper middle classes. And if you had 4,000 shillings a week, you could even move further into a totally higher class, the upper classes, and join the aristocracy. So think carefully about how to increase your income and improve your lifestyle as a publican. If you end the game raising your status, then you've proven that you have adjusted well to the new industrial economy, and you may win. Good luck.